Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Playbook Activity Manager, and this is one of the featured accelerators on our Decisions Solutions Marketplace. I have on the screen now our Decisions Solutions Marketplace as it is shown on our website. We have all of these accelerators, which are pre-built out projects that you can import into your Decisions instance to reduce your friction to deployment and give you more use cases for decisions. Today we're going to be focusing on the Playbook Activity Manager. Now, if I click on the Playbook Activity Manager here in the Decision Solutions Marketplace, it's going to show what features come with this accelerator. It's going to come with rules, workflows, forms, dashboards, design patterns, and assignments. I can click Learn More to check out documentation, but if you're watching this video, we're actually going to look into Decisions and see what it looks like in its actual application. So let's hop over there now. All right, so here we are in Decisions. The first question you're probably going to ask is, how hard is it to get these accelerators into Decisions? And the answer is, it's very easy, especially here in version 9, which I am on right now. Here from Project Hub, I can just click the App Store on the top right, and it will load all of those accelerators from the Decisions Solutions Marketplace that we feature on our website. Today we're talking about Playbook Activity Manager. You can find these, they're alphabetical. It shows this at the top because I already have it installed so I can show you some things in it. But as you click on any of these accelerators, it will give you the option to just install them. So it is a really simple process. And again, just from your landing page here, you can go to the App Store, click on it and install it. You'll notice that here under the details for Playbook Activity Manager, that it does say that the error handling module is a prerequisite to this. If you try and install the Playbook Activity Manager without the error handling module installed, it'll just install it for you. So it's no two-step process. It really is just a one-step process to get this particular accelerator installed into your Decisions instance. Once installed, that Playbook Activity Manager is going to show up as a project in Decisions. We can take a look inside of this to see kind of how it's constructed. We have these designer folders that show the kind of plumbing on the back side of the project. We can go through and look at the flows, the forms, and make customization there. But for the sake of this video and just to kind of show it to you in an actual use case, we're going to save some of that stuff for later in the video. For now, we're mainly going to be talking about what it actually looks like in deployment. A lot of that work is going to be done from the Playbook Manager Views dashboard. When you import the project, depending on which version of Decisions you're importing it into, it may show up as a folder outside of the public folder, but in version 9, if you want the end user to be able to use this, the best place for it is going to be in that public folder space. So when I take a look at this dashboard, it's kind of made of a couple different views. So on this particular use case that I made, I have 2 playbook teams. I have human resources, which has 3 playbooks inside of it. And I have IT, which has just a singular playbook inside of it. So these tasks can be reused and redeployed very easily with just a singular click. And they can be made kind of through a singular process without having to use any Decisions designers. So here I am looking at human resources, and I have in this playbook team, I have 3 playbooks: new employee onboarding, an interview process, and an offboarding process. These can be launched very easily. Again, without much use of Decisions, you can figure out that's how you work it. So within new employee onboarding, I have these 4 activities. Now you might notice straight out the gate that we have 2 playbooks with the same sequence number. What that allows us to do is make tasks that run in parallel. So it will not run to the next sequence number until both of these tasks have been completed. I can easily change that sequence number by right-clicking on any of these playbooks and just editing the activity and changing it to sequence number 4. But for now, we're just going to kind of walk through the process, how it might look in an actual deployment. These activities can be assigned to groups. So I have these assigned 2 to the HR group and 2 to the IT group. I put myself in all of these groups just to kind of show it in a linear process, so you don't have to watch me log in and log out of a bunch of Decisions instances. But you can easily imagine how you can, if you assign a user to the group, it will show up in their inbox. So we're going to take a look. We're going to go ahead and launch a playbook. So I can right click on the new employee onboarding playbook and launch it. I can call this new hire John Doe. And what this will do is it will launch these tasks in this sequence number. And again, because I have myself in all of those groups, either HR or IT, it'll only show up for me, but it'll show up in the inbox of the other users of those groups. So as I launch it, you'll notice that the new hire contact information has been assigned to me. It's also in my inbox. I can fill it out, complete the task, and I can just fill out this information. John Doe, phone number, address, personal email, and we'll say the manager is me. And you can adjust the date. And again, this form is built into the Accelerator. I didn't have to make this. It just came with it. So with the Accelerator, it's going to come with a variety of forms. The default forms are going to be a checklist, a contact information form, which you see on the screen, a file upload, which will be the next form that pops up on the screen, a multiple select dropdown, and a simple text entry form. All right, so when I hit done, it's going to show up, hey, we've got a new thing assigned to me. And that is file upload, ID collection, sequence number 2. So I can choose a file here and complete this task. I can go to the next task. And you'll notice on the top here that we'll have some information pop up about emails being created. It's because you can actually set the state of these activities and then add that state to the configuration folder and add additional automation. So through this process, I can create an email, I can notify users, and I can add to the employee database. So I can add some notes if I want to, or I can just complete the task. And you'll notice up here it says, hey, backend integration complete, user account made in Teams and SharePoint. You can finalize this process with the last bit of our thing, the backend system integration and assigning technology, deployed in parallel. I can add a MacBook with the serial number right there. So it says, please put device serial number in the comment section. And if I try and submit this without that, it's going to make it required. And that's easily done in those Activity Designer as well. So I've completed that process. I can take a look at it. Here it is as a case entity, all the information I might need, and all of the information that I put into those forms. Percentage complete, 100. So it really is that easy. And again, if I wanted to run it again, it's a simple kind of process. Employee onboarding, here are my tasks. So as an end user, it really is that easy to launch a playbook in Decisions. It's easy to deploy tasks to users. Now, how difficult is it to build those playbook teams, playbooks, and tasks in the Playbook Activity Manager? Let's take a look at that process and how easy it is. So we can create a new playbook team, and we're going to call this Technical Training, and we're going to make the owner myself. As I click create, I now have a new playbook team. And in this playbook team, I have no playbooks. I can click on that playbook team and enter it in. And look, I have no playbooks, no activities, no live, nothing at all. But I can add a playbook to the team by clicking add playbook to team on the top left. We're going to call this playbook name, creating a training instance. We can create the playbook. There it is. I can enter that playbook by clicking on it. In the playbook, again, I have no activities. I have options up here to copy, launch it, but with nothing in it, there's no point in copying or launching anything. The only thing we should really be doing is adding some activities. So again, without using any decisions designers, I can easily create forms and sequential tasks for end users to complete in Decisions. So we're going to start with sequence number 1, and we're going to call this activity get instance user contact information. The responsible group for this, we're going to go ahead and just say, we'll say this is an HR task for now. We can make comments required or not required. We can change the assignment type here. So we're going to say this is a technical training assignment, and that'll show up in the report. The state after completion, we can use this to add additional automation to the configuration folder, but for now we're just going to leave it optional. And here are those 5 or 6 forms I talked about earlier. So we're going to start with the contact information. And again, we can add instructions. Please fill this out for the user. Done. We now have our first activity in that playbook. I can easily add another activity, and we're going to call this sequence number 2. The activity name for this one is going to be assign an instance. So the responsible group, again, we'll go ahead and make this IT this time, and we'll make the assignment type IT instance creation. And we can either make comments required or not required. And I'm going to add a special little feature to this right here. We're going to say state after completion that the instance created. And we're going to add this as a checklist. We can add options beneath it. So we'll say create instance, create user accounts, and create email for student notification. Hit done. Instructions for the worker are required. Please create an instance. Now let's say we wanted to edit one of these activities. Very easy. You can just right click on any activity and click edit activity, and you can make changes here in that same view that you had before. Let's add one final activity to this playbook and then launch it. So the final one that we're going to run, we're actually going to run it in parallel with the previous task. So we'll leave sequence number 2 on. We'll call this verify that instance is live. We're going to make this responsible group IT again. We're going to change the assignment type to IT verification. And again, that will show up on the report. The type is going to be we'll do a multi-select dropdown, and we'll say yes and no. Did you verify instance is live and running? All right, we're going to build one more feature onto this playbook before we actually launch it. If you remember on assign an instance, I set the state after completion to instance created. I can add a state in my configuration folder called instance created and add a flow that will run when that record enters this state using a trigger flow. So we're just going to call this creation of instances. And in this flow, you can do all of the work that you might need to create an instance. So something like this. Backend integration, you can have subflows that create emails and employees notified and user accounts made in Teams and SharePoint. For this use case, just to show that it works, I'm just going to add a pop-up step, just do pop-up on the screen and say, hey, look, the configuration folder works. Hey, look. This works. And you can access the data from those records using the folder ID. So we'll save this. And now that we have it, we'll bounce back over. And we'll head into this technical training, creating an instance. We have it right here. And I can just launch this playbook. Say, create an instance for me. Launch it. And you'll notice right there that we have the task. It can be completed. Same kind of stuff we did before. And again, I'm kind of just putting junk data in here. And then as we exit this form, you'll notice we're going to get that pop-up saying, hey, look, this works. So it runs that other flow as we enter that state. So hopefully you can see how this is an easy use case for your organization. You can easily create playbook teams, create playbooks, and create activities in there and launch them with a singular click. I did not enter any decisions designers. I just used the built-in form that creates those elements for you. If you do want to do any additional kind of customization, feel free to explore the form section. You can find these and you can make small changes to these things. So on contact information form, if I choose to edit this and I change manager email to some other field, we'll call this new changed text. And save it. If I launch that playbook, we'll call this changed text. I have that change right there. As I go through, I can make small changes to those things. So we can look at how many live playbooks we have. So the main flow that we have looks like this. If you wanted to make changes to how those records are written, you can use this. But it all kind of just comes by default out of the box working. You don't need to mess around with all of these flows and forms, although you can if you want to customize it for your use case. So hopefully you can see how the Decisions Activity Playbook Manager is a quick way to administer, create, and monitor your custom constructed tasking workflows. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to training@decisions.com or support@decisions.com, and we can help you kind of get your process started. Thank you very much.